Kaur, Vice President-elect, FICCI-CMSME, Mr. Dilip Chinoy, Secretary General, FICCI, and ex-officio Secretary General, FICCI-CMSME, a senior government official from Ministry of MSME and DCMSME office, members of CMSME Executive Committee, and members of CMSME, friends, colleagues from the industry. A very good evening and a warm welcome to all at this interaction with Shri Arvind Kumar Sharma ji. Sir, first of all, we are honored by your presence. Indeed, we are extremely grateful that you spared some time from your busy schedule to join us on this special occasion. During this COVID period, FICCI has accustomed itself with virtual platforms thoroughly and developed platforms which enables people from across the globe to view discussions happening on FICCI's programs. And I'm glad that hundreds of MSMEs from across the country are viewing this session through FICCI's webinar portal. On behalf of FICCI-CMSME, I would like to express sincere gratitude to all of you present here virtually for joining us today at this special session, which is being organized on the occasion of 6th Annual General Meeting of FICCI Confederation of MSME, the MSME arm of FICCI. MSME sector has always been priority for FICCI, and in December 2013, FICCI established the FICCI Confederation of MSME as an affiliated body with a mission of empowering MSMEs. FICCI-CMSME is a dedicated body which is created to work closely with the MSME sector to identify issues and suggest viable solutions. FICCI-CMSME as a pan-India body endeavors to play an active role as an aggregator for developing MSME capabilities in various aspects of their businesses. CMSME plays an active role in generating holistic grid to connect MSMEs with mentors, incubators, accelerators, and assist MSME through capacity building programs and services. It also provides a platform for networking and consensus building within the cross sectors. It is the first port of call for Indian MSMEs, policymakers within and across sectors. As the virtual events are the need of the hour, besides FICCI webinar viewing portal, FICCI has also developed its in-house virtual event platform for business, information, knowledge, and education, which is known as BIKE, which can hold virtual exhibition and conference. Besides, it also enables participants for networking and exchange cards virtually. FICCI will keep coming out with such solutions for greater benefits of the industry, including MSME sector. Keeping this in view, FICCI shall also be happy to organize virtual exhibitions and conference with the support from the Minister of MSME. We are grateful to the Minister of MSME for giving us the continuous opportunity to work closely for the development of MSME sector. I would like to take this opportunity to mention that Ministry has done exceptional work for the development of MSME sector in the last few years and also taken multiple steps to safeguard our MSME during this unprecedented time of COVID. We all know that today MSME of a country is facing challenges in many fields, and since Corona outbreak, the conditions have become adverse for them. Financing has been a big challenge for MSME, and many MSMEs turn into NPA due to this crisis. Here, I would like to take a moment to mention that in the last few years, the situation has improved as new tools of financing have made their ways to MSME ecosystem. I must say that the government has been very supportive in this regard, and multiple schemes have also been launched by the government for the benefits of MSME. I can easily say that now MSMEs have more option of funding compared to a few years back, and this has given a leverage to our MSMEs. Besides financing, where ample work has been done by the government, other areas of concern such as technology upgradation, marketing, public procurement, etc., has also been taken care by the government, not only to safeguard MSMEs, but also to make them future ready. Today, one of the major issues before MSME is that Make in India initiative, and we should work upon enhancing the ease of doing business. One of the hurdles which MSME faces is networking, and keeping this in view, FICCI-CMSME also developed an in-house portal, FICCI-CMSME Connect. To cater to this segment, the portal enables MSME to find out relevant business counterparts and post their queries on the portal for others to see and respond. In future, we plan to add more features to this portal. We are also working towards how this portal can be a facilitator for procurement amongst PSUs and government departments. I'm glad that Secretary has kindly agreed to our request to inaugurate our portal today. As the portal is going live, I'm hopeful that many MSMEs would take benefit from the same. With these words, I would like to request Mr. Sanjay Bhatia, President FICCI-CMSME, to deliver his address. Thank you. Over to Mr. Bhatia. So you're on mute.
Yeah, good afternoon, and Shri Arvind Sharmaji, Secretary, Ministry of MSME, Alkaji, Mr. R. Narayan, President-elect, FICCI-CMSME, and founder and CEO, Power to SME Private Limited, Mr. Dilip Chinoy, Secretary General, FICCI, and ex-officio Secretary General, FICCI-CMSME, Jyoti Vij, Secretary, FICCI-CMSME, and Deputy Secretary General, FICCI, Girish Luthra, Senior Vice President-elect, FICCI-CMSME and Chairman Luthra Group of Companies, Harjinder Kaur, Vice President-elect, FICCI-CMSME and MD and CEO, Com Vision India Private Limited, members of CMSME Executive Committee, members of CMSME, friends and colleagues from the industry. Sir, at the outset, let me first of all say I'm so thankful to you for agreeing to address us on the AGM, as this happens to be my last day as president of FICCI-CMSME, and both you and Alkaji had always been very supportive, and I look forward to, of course, this is a proud privilege for me that you are there, sir. A very good evening to all who have joined this session from across the country. I would like to welcome you all at this session, which is being organized by CMSME on the occasion of 6th Annual General Meeting. CMSME is an allied body of FICCI which was established in 2013 to cater to the MSME sector particularly. I would like to specially welcome Shri Arvind Sharmaji and other senior officials of MSME who have spared their valuable time to join us on this occasion. It has only been a couple of months that Shri Sharmaji has joined the ministry, but he has worked rigorously to support the sector in these unprecedented times of COVID. Sir, at the outset, on behalf of FICCI-CMSME and MSMEs, I would like to compliment you and your team in the ministry and the DCMSME for the stupendous work done for addressing the challenges put forth by this pandemic and for coming out with initiatives to support the MSMEs. When finance became the biggest hurdle, in the reopening of the units, Ministry of MSME was instrumental in getting the schemes launched, like ECLGS, subordinate debt scheme, fund of funds, which not only cater to stress and struggling MSMEs, but also pave a way towards growth of potential MSMEs. But I have been told that under ECLGS, as on September 10th, 2020, rupees 1.63 lakh crore was sanctioned to 42 lakh borrowers, out of which rupees 1.18 lakh crore has been disbursed to 25 lakh borrowers. I'm sure when the Fund of Funds scheme comes out, it would certainly give support to growth-oriented MSMEs to flourish and contribute to the economy, including creating employment and upcoming workforce. The new definition for MSME has also been a historic decision which was pending for a long time, sir. FICCI-CMSME had been advocating for bringing this change for many years. The new definition will certainly help MSMEs to grow without fearing to lose the status of MSME. Besides, excluding the export turnover would help MSMEs to explore maximum opportunities on foreign soil. We also like to compliment the ministry for not only simplifying the MSME's registration through Udyam, but at the same time, issues which were prevalent in earlier registration have been addressed through this. Sir, here I would like to seek one small clarification that as per the new registration, GST will be mandatory and self-declaration provision is available till 31st March 2021. But as you are aware that there are MSME units, especially MSEs, who are exempted from GST. So do all MSMEs who are exempted from GST would be required to register for GST for getting MSME registration. A clarification on this will certainly help, especially for the micro enterprise and small enterprises who are below the threshold limit of GST, as they are concerned of this and fear of being burdened with various compliances. The ministry's initiative of supporting self-help group and individuals for agarbatti making and further two new schemes for pottery making and beekeeping under the Gram Udyog Vikas Yojana would help rejuvenate the rural industries and reduce the urban migration. These three schemes for manufacturing agarbatti, pottery, and honey would promote self-employment, create many micro ventures, and help creating jobs in the rural part of the country. The Atmanirbhar package allows elimination of global tenders for the projects up to 200 crores and similarly participation in defense production by reserving 101 products for Indian companies. Both steps would certainly help MSMEs in terms of creating immediate demand, which is the need of the hour, sir. These steps are in the right direction for MSMEs to contribute towards making the country reach $5 trillion economy, sir. Sir, I would now like to draw your attention to some of our suggestions which we have submitted to Reserve Bank of India, where you were also present, sir, in that meeting, and Finance Ministry for consideration to make the funds easily available for MSMEs, sir. ECLGS scheme, which provides loan based on total outstanding as on 29th February, it is either suggested that the outstanding could be calculated taking previous 6 months average, or alternatively, the percentage of the loan amount to be given instead of outstanding should be given on the sanction limit. So whatever the sanction loan was there, if that can be taken into consideration, sir. Then there are a couple of states that are charging significantly higher stamp duties. It is seen that for rupees 20,000 loan, the stamp duty charged by some states is as high as 4,000 or 5,000 rupees. This issue needs immediate attention with regard to the ECLGS scheme, sir. It is advised to charge a moderate amount, say rupees 50 or 100, if complete waiver is not possible. Bankers have taken up this issue, as we understand, with the state level banker committee as well. While there is a notification stating that the stamp duty needs to be uniform for all states effective 1st July 20, the issue needs to be resolved by having a discussion with the revenue department of probably each state, sir. Many NBFCs depend on banks to raise liquidity. Post ILFS crisis, NBFCs too have to scrutinize, assign MSME pools as it enables banks to fulfill their priority sector obligations. Under the scheme, an NBFC cannot offer 20% to the customer as it has assigned its pool to the bank. It needs to obtain a no objection certificate from the bank, which the banks are unwilling to provide, but at the same time, they cannot service those customers as they are not in direct contact with them. This leads to a gap in addressing the financing needs of such MSME borrowers. Banks are charging up to 3% of the sanction limit for pre-closing credit facility. MSMEs should have the freedom to select any bank or financial institution offering better rate of interest and credit facilities. Hence, there should not be any foreclosure charges for MSMEs, sir. 2% interest subvention scheme on the outstanding amount taken as loan from bank NBFC was announced in November 18 for MSMEs. It was a very good step towards encouraging MSMEs to go for expansion, modernization of their facilities and asset upgradation, sir. The scheme was operational till March 20 and has not been extended further. It is requested that the scheme may be extended further for at least 2 years till financial year 21-22. Besides, it is also suggested that interest subvention across all MSMEs should be increased to the extent of minimum 4% instead of 2 for at least 2 years, sir, to allow the industries to come out of the present turmoil created by this pandemic. I request if this suggestion could be taken up with the by the Ministry of MSME with the relevant authorities will further help easing access to finance to MSME, sir. Sir, the pandemic, we all know, has resulted into job losses at one place and shortage of manpower in the other. The ministry's initiative of Unnati, a labor exchange platform, to digitally enable livelihood access for blue and grey collar workers in India is laudable. Considering the current disruption caused by the pandemic, this platform would be a boon for the blue and grey collars and as well as employers, sir. FICCI-CMSME expresses its full commitment towards this platform and will provide its full support to increase penetration across the country. We would be happy to provide at least 10 MSMEs for pilot testing from our side. I would like to suggest few points which may be considered for making it more accessible and beneficial, sir. In India, many workers would not know typing text on the platform. Similarly, employers not know all the languages. Hence, it is suggested that the speech to text converter should be embedded in the platform so that the employer could understand the skill sets available with the workers and accordingly hire them. The platform should have a facility where workers or employers could seek assistance and provide their suggestions for the platform. Due to COVID situation, many call centers in the country are not fully functional. These call centers should be utilized for making calls to workers for explaining the platform, which would be helpful in increasing the uptake. India is a country of villages and our panchayat system is very robust. As many workers live under the purview of panchayats, hence our panchayat should be utilized to popularize the platform, though through posters, banners, etc. Trained staff should be recruited to help and guide the workers, sir. Besides workers, companies are significant part of the platform, and hence registration process of the company on the platform should be simplified and should be interconnected with some identifier like GST, PAN, Udyam registration, etc. Keeping the upcoming workforce, that is millions of graduates in view, we suggest that this platform should also consider catering to the graduate workforce so that they could also use the platform to search jobs. Besides, these graduates could be encouraged to assist nearby workers who may find it difficult to register. The sectors like hospitality, agriculture, tourism have faced a lot of challenges in recent times. It would be nice if these sectors could be included in the scope of the platform, sir. Sir, I would like to apprise you that we keep receiving queries seeking clarification on status of various schemes of the Ministry of MSME. Though we appreciate that there are various initiatives being taken and information portal are being created, providing information on schemes as well as such as Champion Portal, Ideas Portal, etc. Besides Ministry of MSME official website and DC MSME official website. However, some of the portal schemes do not align, and even some schemes which are not operational are listed. If a mechanism could be devised where all schemes which are functional could automatically get updated in all and the non-functional schemes could be removed, this will certainly help MSME, sir. Sir, I'll just here like to mention one particular sector, which is an important sector, which is the animation, visual effects, gaming and comic. And XR industry is the new sunrise sector, sir. It is in growth phase and has a potential to create 20 lakh jobs and grow to US $60 billion over the next 10 years, including export of creative services, sir. Over 80% of this sector comprises of small to medium sized studios employing 10 to 100 artists. Most studios need startup capital in order to invest into software and hardware. Sector needs special attention given its massive employment and growth potential. The industry needs to be sensitized of the benefits of MSME schemes, sir. The other, of course, is the metal packaging, sir. I'll talk to you separately. I'm not taking the time here, but I'll seek separate. But I thought that I'll mention, but now I'll not mention. But there are problems facing that sector also, sir, because of the mandatory BIS certification and all. Sir, before I conclude, I would also like to briefly introduce our initiative, that is FICCI-CMSME Connect portal, which Hemant also mentioned. This is an online portal which will act as online directory for MSMEs and will enable MSMEs to connect with each other. It also enables MSMEs to post business queries for listed enterprises. This would be an additional service to all our MSMEs who would want to explore business opportunities. During the time of COVID, when physical networking has become a bit challenging, I am sure this portal would help a lot of MSMEs, and I request all participants to visit www.FICCI-CMSME Connect.in and register for this new service of FICCI-CMSME. Sir, FICCI-CMSME is committed to work enabling MSMEs to grow to the next level, and FICCI-CMSME would always be available for working with the ministry for the benefit and development of MSMEs. Here, I would like to acknowledge the wholehearted support that we get from all the officials of the ministry, including DCMSME office. I once again express my sincere gratitude to you, sir, for joining us today. I am honored that you are there to address our MSME members and for giving us the blessings to our FICCI-CMSME Connect portal. Thank you very much. So, may I request you to first, this is a virtual launch of the portal. Can I request Hemant to just
Yes, sir.
display
Yes, sir.
before I request the secretary to.
Yes, sir. So may I request the secretary to kindly launch this?
Okay.
Okay. So it is only I have to say that it is launched and I have to click.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
It is launched.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So, thank you for launching.
Looks
Thank you, sir.
very nice and very encouraging.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now, may I request, Secretary for his keynote address. Before inviting him, I would just like to, present. Everybody knows Mr. Sharma very well, but just for the other audience, I'd just like to give a brief profile. Prior to assuming the charge of Secretary, Ministry of MSME, Small and Medium Enterprises, Sharmaji was serving as Additional Secretary, Prime Minister's Office. He is 1988 batch IS officer of Gujarat Cadre. Shri Sharma ji has worked in the government of Gujarat for long at various positions, including field and policy level, and as secretary to the Chief Minister of Gujarat. He has extensive experience in grassroots regulatory and development administration. He was recognized with the Best District Development Officer when he worked in Vadodara district. He was known for his contribution in industrialization of Gujarat as Managing Director of Industrial Extension Bureau and as a pioneer of the Vibrant Gujarat experiment. His experience in infrastructure is equally noteworthy since he had held the position of CEO of Gujarat Infrastructure Development Board for a long time. During these years, GIDP was acclaimed as the most admired infrastructure agency of the country. His contribution in setting up the Gujarat section of dedicated freight corridor and Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor, as well as Dholera Special Investment Region is also highly talked about. He created online administrative processes which are internationally acclaimed. His experience of more than a decade in industry and infrastructure sector particularly brings a lot of value in his present assignment of rejuvenating and championing the MSME sector. With these words, may I request Sharmaji for his keynote address, please. Sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sanjay, particularly for bringing me to this platform.
Thank you.
In fact, whatever I wanted to say, Sanjay has already spoken, so I am looking for points to speak now. Because all that we have done in few years, and particularly in the last 5 months, he has already listed, so I'm not going to repeat that. What I would say, perhaps many of you may not be knowing that I have a very good relation with FICCI. Not only, in fact, having a relation would be a very lesser word to describe what I want to say. FICCI, in fact, has been my alma mater in terms of industrial management, or in terms of management in the industrial this thing. I'll explain how. As soon as it was mentioned, as soon as I became managing director of Gujarat State's Industrial Extension Bureau. And I had come from the district kind of postings and very little experience in the industry and all that. Immediately, I was asked to organize a good business event. I didn't know what to do, where, whom to talk, and how to go about it. So FICCI came to my rescue. They were the partners in that event. That event was a precursor of Vibrant Gujarat event. It was known as Resurgent Gujarat, if I'm not wrong. The very first event which we organized. Then came from that we changed the nomenclature and converted the same event to Vibrant Gujarat. And FICCI continued to be partner there also, and thereafter, perhaps in next 2-3 events of Vibrant Gujarat. So I can say FICCI has been my guru in this entire field. And later also, I must confess, CII also joined. So particularly FICCI and these two leading organizations of the country have been my guru in this field. So I pay my compliments, I convey my thanks on this occasion to this great institution of the country. On setting up this confederation for the MSMEs, this is again a very welcome initiative, of course, because as you said, perhaps MSMEs would be feeling lost in your big operations, because everybody's impression is that you represent the big industry and the lesser industry is represented by someone else. What they don't know is that the lesser part is in fact the bigger part, and more so particularly when now the definition has been changed. So very good work has been done under the Confederation of MSME. So I compliment all of you. I compliment Sanjay Bhatia particularly for spearheading this organization. And I convey my good wishes to my friend Mr. Chris Luthra on his taking over this prestigious institution. Friends, as I said, since Sanjay has already narrated most of the points which my ministry has been doing, I would touch upon only 2-3 issues which were partly flagged as requirements or demands. One is the requirement of GST number or PAN number after March 21. See, we had two options. One option was not to go the digital way and to keep doing the same in the same manner as things have been happening previously and also in many other sectors. What we decided that no, let this be a totally digitally driven registration process. Now we did say that till March 21, everything would be on the self-declaration basis. But beyond March, we will expect the ITR and the PAN number and the GST number. Even there, if you read the fine wording of our notification, what we have said that the PAN number would be mandatory and the GST number would be required. Perhaps that may make you a little more comfortable. And one more piece of information I want to give. The new registrations, in fact, I was trying to open my mobile number to see the exact number, but somehow the link is not opening. But I can say 6 lakh plus new registrations have taken place as per the new definition, new system, and everything. And almost 90% of the registrations are such which are happening with PAN number. So these units and these enterprises are already having their PAN number. So be relaxed, don't worry on this account. We are with you, and whatever will be the situation, we will handle it. But at the same time, in the intervening period, I mean from today up to March, My request to all of you is to educate the MSME sector and educate the enterprises to be better compliant, because today or tomorrow they have to fall in line with the system. Otherwise, you see, in MSME today transacting below a threshold limit where the GST number is not required, and tomorrow crossing that threshold where a GST number is required, or doing business with somebody who may ask for the GST number. You all know these requirements, cross-cutting requirements. So I would say you please educate the MSME to take the GST. And these things have become very easy. You also know that, because getting a PAN number, getting a GST number is no longer very difficult. So I would suggest you please try to educate, try to make them compliant, try to rather you open a help desk to help the micro units and the small units in getting these numbers. At the end of the period, we will see as to what needs to be done. I mean, we are all here to promote and facilitate the MSMEs, not to block their operations or businesses. So that is where I stand. The second point you touched upon was regarding the credit line, the credit scheme, uh, uh, the collateral fee scheme which is going on, and 1 lakh plus crores of rupees have been. You mentioned that during the RBI meeting also. So I'm not going into details, but we are aware of the requirements, and we are also constantly talking to the banking ministry, I mean department, and also to RBI to consider these, because we also feel that they are genuine requests as to consider the sanction loan amount rather than the due amount and all that. So these issues we are aware and we are taking. The other things I would not repeat. For example, the Champions portal we have opened, and online registration. See, for the first time, perhaps a registration process which we have opened is such that it is fully integrated with the income tax and the GST networks. You don't need to give your investment. You don't need to give your turnover figures, and that is why the requirement of the PAN number and the GST number. Otherwise, then the next option would be to ask you to produce and upload a chartered accountant certificate, this certificate and that certificate. So this is how we are doing. Now, instead of repeating what Sanjay has said, I would try to talk a little bit about the future initiatives. So I think in the very beginning, Hemant mentioned he used the word future ready. How to make our MSMEs future ready? And for information of everyone else, I would like to show you a document which I have issued yesterday only, and we have listed 5 activities. I would take some time to list out. What we have done is that we have formed 5 task forces, 5 ministerial task forces, which will be headed by our key officers, including Alka Avara is going to head one of the task forces. And these 5 task forces would work for a month in 5 key areas where we feel that the industry of the country, and particularly the MSME sector, should head towards. One of them is Industry 4.0. You mentioned animation, etc. But we are already alive to that requirement. We are alive to that potential, and that is why the very first task force and the very subject area would be which we are going to take up with the Industry 4.0 and all elements of Industry 4.0 within that, including AI and 3D and virtual reality and all that. I'm not going to go into details. The second area is export promotion. And And in the first one, the end objective is to make India a global leader in Industry 4.0. So with this mission and with this objective, the task force would work for a month, get the best practices of the world, get the inputs of the experts, and come back to the ministry with concrete strategy and concrete action points within a month. The second area is export promotion and import reduction, including how to focus in the key manufacturing areas, how to improve our quality standards, how to improve our designs, technology, packaging, and everything. And the end objective again here is to see that India becomes a global manufacturing hub and a leading exporter in the world. The third is how to re-engineer vertically and horizontally, how to re-engineer our existing cluster schemes so that they are able to assist the grassroots and the micro level enterprises as well as the high-end enterprises. So you may be aware that we are running 3-4 cluster-based schemes. It includes Aspire, it includes Spurti, it includes MSC, CDP clusters, and then there are parallel horizontal clusters being run by the schemes being run by other ministries like Food and Agro Processing Department runs its own cluster-based scheme. Textiles Ministry runs its. So how do we integrate all these cluster-based schemes so as to empower our MSMEs in a more fruitful manner? This would be third. The fourth is again how to integrate our technology centers within the ministry, because within the ministry also there are 2-3 mechanisms being run on this concept, and then there are other mechanisms, similar mechanisms, which are being operated by other ministries. For example, the heavy industry ministry runs its own technology centers for the automobile industry. Then some other ministry runs for X kind of industry, Y kind of. Now we don't know. We as officers, I have spent almost entire career in the government. When we are not clear, or you are not clear, who has spent so much time in this entire this thing. So how does a poor MSME or poor entrepreneur know as to where to go? So we are trying to integrate all this and we are trying to make it visible. The last but very important intervention in terms of this task force would be to align our modernizational schemes like Z, Lean, Design Scheme, IPR Scheme, and Marketing Scheme, and then there are a host of other interventions which are meant for strengthening an MSME. So my concept, since I have been here, since I have come here, is that something like a newborn child. A newborn child needs an underwear, needs an upperwear, needs today's child will need a mask also perhaps. So all that should be given as one package, so that the child grows healthy. Not that you give the chaddi but you don't give a banyan. You give a mask but you don't give this thing sanitizer. So what we are trying to see and make is that our interventions are holistic. So I have constituted 5 task forces on these key and important futuristic areas to make not only my ministry future ready, but also the MSMEs of the country future ready. And eventually, I can pass on this paper to you for detailed look and for your suggestions also. Alka, you do one thing, you can perhaps share this with MSME associations and leading associations, and you
Okay,
please, all task forces should seek suggestions from them also. Now,
right, sir.
my problem is I don't want to make it an endless consultation process and endless process of interaction. What I have said that I need the report before the end of October, and I need whatever restructuring or whatever policy decisions we need to take, we have to take in the month of November, and by December 2020, the strategy must be implemented. So by the beginning of next year, in any case, latest, we would be on the path of implementing these futuristic initiatives. So I want to assure on this occasion, I want to assure the MSME sector that we are thinking, and we are taking all possible steps which we can envisage. And I am interacting with you with an order to, in order to understand from you as to what we don't understand, so that we can be guided, we can be led into the right direction. And there are, perhaps we are heading towards, in spite of all this gloomy picture which is there and being created, I must give you the brighter side. The brighter side is that our MSME sector is very resilient. You must have seen that at the start of COVID pandemic, in the month of March, we did not have even single units of PPE in the country. We were not producing any quantity, any item. And today we are almost self-sufficient. In just 3 months, we are almost self-sufficient in most of these COVID related medical items and auxiliary items. So this is our strength. This is our strength, that an MSME or a small unit of this country can make itself turn around in a very short while with very less resources, and it can fight like it is being said that Indians have a better immunity to fight COVID-19. Similarly, our MSMEs have better immunity, better fighting spirit, better resilience, and we have all seen during this period. So this is one better bright side. The second bright side I would want to mention is that we don't have to, if we can export, nothing like it. We have to be quality conscious, we have to be competent, we have to be competitive, and we must target the export markets. But given the supply chain constraints in the near future, even if we are able to open and feed the domestic requirements, we have a huge market, we have a huge demand in our own country, so we don't have to worry about that also. That also I count as a brighter side. In terms of human resources, in terms of our logistics and all that, you all know better than me. And the last but not the least, the brighter side, which has happened very recently, is the labor reforms, which were passed by the August Parliament only yesterday. And you will discover that there are many elements which were pain points for the MSME sector, and they have been now tackled, they have been now removed, and going forward, the MSME sector will definitely benefit out of that process. The remaining things, there are many issues which going forward we have to tackle, and we have, as I said, we will learn from you, we will keep talking to you people, and we will do our best. Now, the last thing which I would like to request all of you is that, see, today's world, and particularly the COVID pandemic, has forced us to go digital. And our MSMEs have to be digital ready. They have to adopt the digital ways. There is no alternative. I mean, there is absolutely no alternative, and so you have to perhaps educate them. If possible, your confederation of MSMEs can again open a help desk to see that even smaller and younger entrepreneurs, younger enterprises, they are able to adopt the online marketing, online selling, online. We on our part, we are doing our best. We are going to launch a few portals, B2C portals, B2B portals. But at the same time, unless the MSME is ready to integrate with those portals or to come on those portals or onboard those portals, they will not be able to be helpful. So these are my requests, and we would be open to receive any suggestions from your side. I repeat my commitment and also commitment from my entire team of the entire ministry. They are very able officers with me. I am very lucky in that sense, and give my commitment on their behalf also that we will do our best for the sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words. We closely look forward to further our engagement with your ministry. We closely work with Alkaji and all the support that we get from her. I'm sure your clarity on the GST part for the registration would help a lot of MSMEs clarify their doubt. And regarding your sir further initiative in terms of 5 task forces, we'll be happy to contribute in all the 5 task force. And with these words, sir, I now invite Mr. R. Narayan, who's president-elect, for his concluding remarks. Mr. Narayan, you are mute.
Thank you, Hemant. Mr. Arvind Kumar Sharma, Secretary, Ministry of Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises, Government of India. Mrs. Alka from the Ministry of Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises, Government of India. Mr. Sanjay Bhatia, President, FICCI-CMSME, Managing Director, Hindustan Tinworks. Mr. Dilip Shenoy, Secretary General, FICCI, ex officio Secretary General, FICCI, CMSME. Members of the CMSME Executive Committee and CMSME members, Girish Luthra and Harjinder Kaur, members of the Presidium, friends and government, friends and colleagues from the industry. A very good evening and a cordial thanks to all of you who have joined us in this interaction with Sri Arvind Kumar Sharma ji and for patiently listening through us. First of all, we thank you again for joining us today and addressing our members who have joined us from across the country. I'm sure your visionary thoughts and words would have encouraged many SMEs and MSMEs to aspire to become successful and aim to contribute to the country's GDP in this unprecedented time. We at FICCI-CMSME firmly believe that the MSME sector has enormous potential, which is yet to be fully explored, given the right ecosystem, and can actually do wonders. This portal that has been launched today has been created to enable MSMEs to explore new business avenues and strengthen their value chains both backwards and forwards. I'm sure with the support of from our MSMEs, this portal will achieve the desired results. The development of the sector could only be done in inclusivity and not in isolation, and therefore a joint effort and collaboration are required from all stakeholders, especially from the government, industry chambers and association, to provide a support infrastructure which enables the growth of the MSME sectors. Sir, FICCI-CMSME assures you of its full cooperation and support in the endeavors of the ministry for the development of the sector. We shall contribute in terms of industry inputs, suggestions to enable the government to make well-informed decisions and to further benefit of the MSMEs. So we also note your request about putting up a help desk for MSMEs where we can explain their adoption rather than rejection of the statutory requirements like GST, etc. Even if not applicable, makes the digital existence much more worthwhile and makes it much more easier. So we will see what we can do on that. We will look forward.
Just a second. In fact, when we were preparing the guidelines for the new registration process, our advisory board, which is represented by many MSME associations, they in fact recommended, it is on our record, that PAN should be made mandatory right from July 20. It was me, my colleagues would certify that, it was me who said that no, we cannot abruptly say that you are supposed to give the PAN number from tomorrow. So we gave 8 months time, I mean July to March, that these requirements would be required, will be made applicable only from only after 7-8 months. So we have given enough time, and perhaps it is our job to make the small units ready for complying with the requirements rather than deferring these key requirements. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, sir. And we look forward to receiving your paper on the 5 task forces that you have initiated, and we'll put our shoulder behind that boulder. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, can I just there's just 1 or 2 questions which have come. If you permit, can I do that?
Yeah, I'm okay.
So what has come is, one is when the fund of funds will become operational.
Yes.
And can we incorporate some positive features of a similar fund being run by Small Business Administration in the United States. Secondly, how to improve MSME Academia Connect. Higher level institutes like IITs prefer to work for large companies and multinationals. They need to be incentivized to work for MSMEs. So these are the tools.
No, it would be my pleasure to respond to both. In fact, the fund of fund scheme, as you know, it was announced during the Atmanirbhar Bharat package, and this is the only major scheme which we have not been able to structure so far. I mean, not launched formally. We have structured, we have got all permissions, we have prepared the guidelines, everything is ready. Now we are going to appoint transaction advisor and legal advisor, and then in the course of a few weeks, perhaps we would be able to list out and invite the. There are two. It's a two-tier system. There is a mother fund for which we are all ready. Everything is in place. But then we have to invite the daughter funds, who are the venture capitalists and the private equity funds. So very soon we will come in the market to raise. You may be aware that 1:4 is the format. 10,000 rupees will come from the government, and then 40,000 crores. 10,000 crores will be coming from the government, and 40,000 crores have to be raised from the market. So this 50,000 crore corpus will provide equity support to the MSME, and I can say that very soon we will go forward in this. Now, learning from some organization of USA, you say, if you can send me little exact name, we'll definitely try to study. We are in fact in that process, and the time is good to learn from any such experiment. Your next question was
Also, how to improve MSME Academia Connect between IITs and
very good. What we have done, in fact, the third, as I said, the fourth task force which I have constituted. One of the mandates of the fourth task force is this also. Okay, so we are going to definitely get into this. But even before that, you may be aware that we were having a scheme of making 20 technology centers and 100 extension centers. Since you are already interacting with my ministry, you might be aware about that whole package, which unfortunately we have not been able to implement fully so far. There have been various implementation and logistics issues behind that, either not getting land, not getting permission, not getting this, not getting that. So we in the ministry have taken a broad decision which exactly answers your question, and the decision is that instead of going around and looking for land and building, etc., why don't we straight away approach the IITs and the polytechnic institutions and the universities? Because many of them have, generally they have big campuses, generally they have surplus lands, and why don't we house our technology centers into those academic institutions? So academia and industry linkage will become automatic. Our land requirement would be solved at one stroke. Our managerial issues will be solved at one stroke. So we have already taken that decision, and we are going forward on that format. So broadly, I accept that suggestion, and I only can assure on this occasion that we will definitely take it seriously.
That's very good, sir. I think this is a fantastic idea, and also some of the PSUs have very big land, spare land with them. Maybe
same thing. In fact, as I said, my fourth task force. Let me read it for your satisfaction. Let me read the entire text. It's not very big. Establishing new technology centers, tool rooms, establishing linkages also for the existing tool rooms with the industry and similar centers of other ministries, making linkages especially with PSUs, government institutions, and also with the global institutes or private sector. So this is the mandate of the fourth task force, which perhaps We'll come up with concrete recommendations in just next
Great.
in course of a month.
Sir, we wish you all the best. I think this is something which, I mean, we really appreciate the way you said you want this by November, do you want this by October, with the fixed milestones which are in the timeline which is there. This is commendable, sir. I think this is the way to go. And this is what we are looking forward to you, sir.
And one more thing I have said, which is for you, is just to see that not much time is spent in this whole exercise. It is said that the groups will use their existing resources only and such studies and reports that are already available.
So no need.
And we all know that n number of reports and studies are already available in the government. But every time something is required, a new study is launched, a new consultancy is launched. So we don't want to get into that.
So that would be, sir. One more thing I'll request before I finally request Mr. Dilip Chenoy to propose vote of thanks is the presentation which you made or the DC made with the RBI Advisory Committee. We would like to have that, sir, copy.
Oh yes, definitely.
That's something contains a lot of data and very informative, sir.
Certainly.
Yeah, Mr. Dilip.
Thank you, Mr. President. Shri Sharma, Secretary, Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. Ms. Alka Nange Arora, Joint Secretary, Ministry of MSME. Mr. Sanjay Bhatia, President, CMSME. Mr. R. Narayan, President-elect, CMSME. Mr. Girish Luthra, Senior VP-elect. Ms. Harjinder Kaur, VP-elect. My colleague Hemant Seth. All the distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening. You could just imagine that this session demonstrated the Secretary, Mr. Sharma's proactive nature. He actually used some very interesting phrases. The first one, he said, doing, thinking, and taking steps. So, and the last thing he said, he doesn't want to reinvent the wheel, take what is there currently and, enable it to go forward. The other great thing is, starting, he said, do not worry, be relaxed. And then he said, look at the brighter side of MSME, the resilience, the domestic market, and the positive reforms taken by government. The 5 task forces that he has actually set up to revive, rejuvenate, and reposition the entire MSME sector in the country. And of course, every meeting with him results for action from industry. We have to actually educate the MSMEs on compliance, take forward the whole digital.
Let me add, your new president, your president-elect comes from the Diamond City. So I hope he will bring the sparkle of Surat diamonds into this
Senior VP, sir.
Yes, sir, we will die trying.
Yes. I'm very thankful to you. We really appreciate the proactive steps your ministry has been taking, the support that Ms. Alka Nange Arora has been giving to the entire industry. Thank you for spending time with us. I know you like to start a meeting and end the meeting on time. I would like to thank the office bearers and the presidiums, Mr. Sanjay Bhatia, Mr. R. Narayan, Girish Luthra, Ms. Harjinder Kaur, and the other executive committee members who are on the call, Ms. Kumar, Ms. Uma Reddy, and Rajveer. To all of you, a very good thank you. To everyone who's actually attending this session, a big thank you. And we look forward to actually working in partnership with the government to build a very strong and resilient and a revived MSME sector in the Indian economy. So thank you very much. And with this, we come to the conclusion of this session of the CMSME annual convention.
Thanks, Dilip.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Sanjay.
Sir.
Thank you, sir.
And welcome, Girishji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.